Our first sales reps nearly destroyed our company. If you're thinking about hiring your first sales rep, please watch this video so that you don't make the same mistakes that we did. Nugget. If you're running a startup, replace yourself doing sales last. You should be having your calendar absolutely packed full of sales before you hire somebody to come take that on. So I'm Jay, founder of Otter Public Relations. We're the #1 fastest growing PR firm in the entire country, and we have a great sales organization with 6 absolute rock star closers. But that didn't happen overnight. In fact, just 3 years ago, it was just me and my partner Scott working in our tiny little apartment in Orlando. And at one point, we got pretty good at marketing. Our calendars got absolutely jam-packed. For like a week or two, we didn't have a 15-minute break. We were doing 10 sales calls a day. And if you've done sales before, you know that is a massive job. You've got to put out proposals. You've got to follow up. And we were just way overwhelmed. We couldn't focus at all on business development, on systems, and operation. All we were doing was selling. And at that point, we're like, it's time. We got to bring on a closer. We got to free this up so that we can work on expanding our business and let them focus on selling. So we put out a job rec. We were looking for an experienced closer. We were paying industry standards for someone of that caliber, and we were giving massive commissions. We finally found a rock star. And on day 1, the dude comes in, he goes through all of our old calls, and within 10 calls, he's already made a close. Our eyes lit up. Cha-ching, we were gonna be rich. So we hired him remote, his choice. It was still COVID, and months went by. He was still closing like crazy, but we started to lose a little bit of touch with him. He stopped responding to our texts. He stopped coming to sales meetings, stopped reviewing his sales calls with us, and then eventually, he started missing sales calls. He would start blocking off his calendar. Finally, we saw this coming, the passive aggressiveness, the build-up. But one day, he finally cornered my business partner in a room and verbally abused him. The reason? We wouldn't let him open a competing agency in the same city. He wanted to leave us, get out of his contract where it was a non-compete, and open a competing agency using everything that he'd learned. In fact, we had to pay him to go away. But after that happened, all of his clients went with him. The worst part is that his turnover was way worse than me and my co-founders when we were selling. He was promising these people the world, and the product was obviously not able to deliver what he was promising. People would leave, and they would leave not happy. Once he left, me and my partner sat down, and we found the source of the problem, and it was actually a few things. 1, he came in with plenty of sales training, but no training on the product. He didn't really have a full understanding of what he was selling and what the product delivery team was actually doing. Problem number 2, no one was reviewing his calls. He had been overpromising, like I said, but also several other things that were very worrisome. Next problem was his turnover was so high, so he had lost confidence in the product that he was selling and didn't feel comfortable selling that product on the phone anymore. He was also remote, so he couldn't share in the culture of the organization. He couldn't spend time with me and my co-founder and be a part of all of the awesome things that were happening here in the office. Lastly, we think he thought he was better than where our organization was at the time, and maybe he was. But for that reason, I believe he lost interest and he stopped being motivated to want to grow with us and help our company succeed. So after this happened, we put together a 5-step framework for hiring the perfect first salesperson and then scaling them with your company. Pillar number 1 of this framework is really emphasize product. Your salesperson should know their product better than their own children. When they're on the phone selling that product, they should be able to answer every single question without having to think about it or look it up. Pillar 2, they need proper feedback. For the first month that they're selling with you on their own, you should be reviewing every single sales call. And sometimes this can be a pain in the ass. It can be time consuming. But I promise you, if you take the time to review and critique their sales calls, it will pay back dividends. Pillar 3, instill ongoing confidence in the product that they're selling. There's a few ways that we do this. Mainly, 1, they're in the office, so they're part of the camaraderie. But every week we have our all-hands meetings where we review client wins. This is where the PR and product delivery team talk about all the awesome things that we were able to do for that client in the previous week. TV placements, big national news publications. The salespeople get to see these and they're like, wow, this product's actually pretty awesome. I can sell this thing. I can charge more. Pillar 4. Culture. You need to really celebrate every single win that the salesperson has. If they get a close, they ring the bell, we make a big explosion on the TV in the office, we blast it in the Slack chat, everyone tells them how awesome they are. Positive reinforcement. The salespeople need a lot of positive reinforcement. Pretty much all salespeople are the same. We all are type I's. We like positive reinforcement. We want everyone to like us. So simply by giving that to them, you motivate them to sell harder and sell more. So pillar number 5 is don't hire an experienced closer as your first salesperson. This is really counterintuitive, and this might even be different than everything you're learning online. But we actually did this with our first 3 salespeople. We hired really charismatic people straight out of college that wanted to make a lot of money and wanted to work directly with us. We trained them to be awesome closers, and they're still with us today, and they're making a ton of money. One of them's 24 years old and is making more than most people my age. Bonus nugget, gamify your sales department. We use a tool called Plecto. We have monthly sales competitions, and whoever wins that sales competition gets usually it's a cash prize, but sometimes really cool trips or whatever we feel like giving them that month. But they see it every day on the board, see who's winning, and they're motivated to sell harder, sell more, and achieve a level of excellence that's better than the next guy. So we've came a long way since learning these lessons from these 2 very experienced closers who are total fails that almost destroyed our company, absolute cancers at the time. Since then, we've grown to a sales department of 6 full-time closers, plus several SDRs that are remote in the Philippines and also in the United States. We've got a pretty awesome sales organization. We've got a sales manager, we have a VP of sales development, we've got excellent training and tracking, and now we can bring on these experienced closers. They come on board with us, they make a ton of money, they feel right at home, they're part of the culture, but we didn't get there overnight. We started by following those 5 pillars, finding less experienced salespeople and training them our way, and showing leadership and building culture and getting them fully immersed and bought into our vision. All right, if you want to learn more about building world-class sales organizations, watch all of the videos you're about to see pop up on the screen here. And we want you to grow as big as possible, as fast as possible, for the one reason: we want you to hire Otter PR to do your PR and media outreach. So hire Otter PR. As always, this information is always free, and I love giving back and I love mentoring. So shoot me a DM on Instagram with any questions that you might have regarding sales, lead generation, whatever it might be. I'm here for you. See you in the next video.